This is Kyle Madson with your top stories on Sports 1140. The Kings won again last night to move to 2 games over the 500 mark. They beat Chicago 108-89. They finished a 4-game road trip at 3-1. De'Aaron Fox filled the stat sheet for the Kings. He had a game-high 25 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds, and 4 steals. Sacramento's off today. They return home tomorrow to face the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Oakland Raiders announced yesterday that they have relieved Reggie McKenzie of his duties as the team's general manager. He signed a 4-year extension in 2016 that would have kept him in Oakland through 2021. And 49ers wide receiver Pierre Garçon's season is over. Head coach Kyle Shanahan announced yesterday that the 32-year-old will have surgery on an injured knee that's kept him out of San Francisco's last 4 games. It's 7:02. Time to put your lights up. If you haven't, Squeaky Clean can hang. Visit squeakyclean.com. Those are your top stories. Now time for the second hour of the drive on Sports 1140 KHGK.
Rise and shine, sleepyhead.
I'm not letting you go to work today.
Wait, what?
Everybody, listen up.
Welcome to The Drive.
Morning, morning, morning.
You're gonna talk.
Get on the phone at 339-1140.
Pretty awesome, huh?
Jump in on our text line at 441140.
Everyone is talking about it. You must know that.
The Drive starts now.
Coming up at 8:05, Matt Barrows is going to talk 49ers. In fact, we'll have a 49er hour, if you will. Eric Armstead of the Niners will join us at 8:35 tomorrow. Scott Bair. And obviously a lot of things to talk about Raider-wise. Both Niners and Raiders got wins last weekend, so we'll have a very rare opportunity to talk wins for both of them. I have some stats for you, by the way, as we do Kings in the segment. 4-down territory coming up at 7:15. Kyle, the De'Aaron Fox-Lonzo Ball debate is still raging with like 4 Laker fans in L.A. That's where the debate is raging. Well, here's a quick reminder for you, and this is from Tim Maxwell of Sacktown Royalty. I'll give him credit for this stat.
Big Tim guy.
He's okay. He's better than John. Much better.
I'm not going to go that far.
Much better than Brad.
But Tim is terrific.
Man, no, guy. Oh, jeez. Let's not go that far. What are you doing? Tim is tolerable occasionally. De'Aaron Fox is
he must be really tall if you're saying that he's tolerable.
Tolerable. As opposed to shortable? Yeah.
Shorterable. Yeah.
De'Aaron Fox is averaging 17.8 points per game this season. Lonzo Ball has not scored 17 points in a game this season. Lonzo Ball's season high in scoring is 15. Now, granted, that's not Lonzo Ball's only job, but it's quite interesting. It's quite interesting that De'Aaron Fox is pretty much dominating Lonzo in every single aspect, I think, except rebounds. I don't even see how that's a debate. He talked to Doug and Grant last night, said some great things about the team and about Iman Shumpert. I'll pick up the interview right here in the middle.
I try to tell them, I'm going to try to get them 2 easy ones. Easy ones meaning, they don't have to dribble. They're open. Just try to get them to the best spot that I feel like, that they can succeed. And I feel like, there are stretches in the game when I do that really well, and, there are stretches where it struggles.
When you guys get into the open court, a lot of times teams want to keep you in the half court. When you get into the open court, those easy buckets are really easy for you guys. But what about the ability to get in the half court and find space at the same time?
I mean, that's something that, I feel like myself and the team struggled last year. I knew that was something that I had to get better at over the summer. And I think that I'm showing guys that I can run a team in the half court. That was always a question that people had for me. Everybody knew I could run a transition.
Darren, we've talked a lot about this, the maturation process. Another road win. That's 3 out of 4 on this trip. 2 games over 500. You guys just seemingly keep on building on this. The chemistry in the locker room's got to be really awesome right now.
Definitely. And I think, people, always ask about Shump and, how he is for us. And that's what he is.
Right.
Great dude, great locker room guy. He's won a championship. He brought a lot of swag on and off the court for us. He's brought confidence. Every game we go into, he makes it feel like we can win. That started when he got here, when he got traded here. Even when he wasn't playing, he just brought a different type of energy. And I think everybody's feeding off of that, especially when he's in the game.
Re-sign Iman Shumpert to a 10-year extension, please. I love hearing that. I do. Because this is the type of stuff, and I don't want to go overboard, Kyle, but this is the type of stuff, much like when we talk about what Costa Koufis does on the floor, it's hard to see and quantify. Mm-hmm. This is the type of thing that we need to, with all the criticisms we've had over the front office. This is the type of thing that I think it's only fair to point out. Say what you want about Vlade Divac. He should have drafted Luka Doncic. He shouldn't have made the Philly trade, blah, blah, blah. What he has undeniably done is he has assembled a team that enjoy each other, that have tremendous chemistry. He has put together a coaching staff that has managed to have guys like Zach Randolph not play a single minute this year and not a whisper. Last year, before the All-Star break, Dave Yeager went public and said the vets are going to be sitting every other game unless we get injured for the rest of the season. And you had guys like Vince Carter and Zach and Costa on the team. Not a peep. The chemistry and character of this team is as good as it gets. And on top of that, they're 14-12. You have to credit that.
Are we at a point where you're considering a max deal for Iman Shumpert?
Give him a...
Hey, you know who I am considering a max deal for?
Who's that?
Just so we're clear, that was a joke.
Uh-huh.
But who I am considering a max deal for is Vince Harris.
Vince Harris.
It's time to call your local Geico agent, Vince Harris, at 916-923-5050. That is 916-923-5050.
Another guy from Sacktown Royalty, Bryant West, put this out. Here's a what if. If the Sacramento Kings had won the coin flip with Chicago last year instead of losing it in the draft lottery, they would have stayed at 7, which means you're probably looking at either Michael Porter Jr., Wendell Carter, or what I believe it would have been, Mikal Bridges, from who is currently on Phoenix. That's who you would have had instead of Marvin Bagley. Just little strokes of luck along with vision. Marvin Bagley looks great. He had the horrible game in Cleveland where he had all the fouls. Cleveland? Was it Cleveland or Indiana? Indiana. Where he had all the fouls and fouled out. It was like 6 fouls in 7 minutes or something stupid. But then last night, he's been getting to a point where he's damn near scoring every 2 minutes he's on the floor.
You know who else is having a great year?
Well, who's that, Kyle?
Buddy Hield.
Buddy Hield is having a phenomenal year. Buddy Hield got hot last night at the right time. The first text, I didn't even mention this, but the first text I got greeted with this morning before the show even started was the question, is the Sacramento Kings backcourt of Hield and Fox better than the Golden State Warriors backcourt of Curry and Thompson? Well, let me start by saying not even close. No, I don't even want to put a but on there. Not even close. Talk to me again in 5 years, and I will say this. The Golden State Warriors backcourt of Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, oh, God, I hate saying this.
Hey, it's okay to be objective.
They are the Golden State Warriors backcourt of Steph Curry and Klay Thompson is the best.
Mm-hmm.
It's the
go on.
It's the
mm-hmm.
It's the best. It's the best backcourt.
Come on.
It's the best It's the best backcourt in NBA history. I said it.
Yes. Yes.
Oh God.
Woo!
I need to hit the KCK locker room shower. Ugh.
Oh right.
Ugh.
I'm glad we got through that.
So let's.
It's objectively.
It's true, but let's get away from that.
At least arguable.
If you asked me to poll all the teams and say, in 4 years, what will the best backcourt in the NBA be? I don't think it's outlandish to say it could be Fox and Hield. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it will be. But let's go through, Wall and Beal will certainly still be there. Well, yeah, you're right. You're 100% correct. They will not. McCollum and Lillard.
That's arguable.
But
I feel like, and here's the thing. I'm really glad you said McCollum and Lillard because I think we've seen the ceiling for them.
You might have been.
And I don't think we are close to the ceiling for Hield and Fox. And they complement each other so well. And that's something that is the reason that Steph and Clay have managed to be so successful, and that they're two of the best 5 shooters ever. But they complement each other really well, and I think Fox and Hield complement each other in a similar way. And so I think they're playing great right now, but we're still not, I don't think, scratching their ceiling.
No.
And so that's where the argument, that's where I'm on your side of this argument, is because like Steph and Clay are reaching the back end of their prime.
Yes.
They're both 29, 30 years old.
Yeah.
So in 5 years, you're looking at guys in their mid-30s.
Yeah, nobody's saying in 4 years will, let's say it is Fox and Buddy, will Fox and Buddy eclipse Steph and Clay in their prime? Because, again, that's the greatest backcourt in NBA history.
Right.
The question is, who would you put if you're betting money ahead of them? And this is assuming everybody stays with their teams. Don't bring in free agency or injuries or anything like that. Assuming everyone's healthy and everyone stays with their team. In 4 years, accounting for age.
Yeah, and you just look at guys like Devin Booker. They don't have a backcourt mate for him. When you look at the 76ers, as many good young pieces as they have, like TJ McConnell's still getting a bunch of minutes.
Sure.
And Ben Simmons is terrific, but
if someone wants to submit a backcourt, we'll try not, current. Somebody's saying from the 949, wrong. Michael Jordan, Ron Harper. I'm not going to rip Michael Jordan or especially Ron Harper because a lot of people don't know Ron Harper and forget how amazing he was defensively. But that's not a better backcourt than Steph and Clay. I'm sorry. It's not.
People also don't realize how good Clay is defensively, but that's fine.
Mitch and Spud Webb, that I will accept. Mitch Richmond and Spud Webb might have been better. Mike Bibby, Doug Christie, definitely better. I take it back. Those my guys. All right, we'll break. 4 down territory. Coming up next, we'll talk about Reggie McKenzie. Bill Belichick taking the blame for Sunday. Does he deserve it? And let's get with the Vikings and Eagles and alternate realities. Did they make the right calls over the summer? We'll talk about all that next right here on Sports 1140 KHTK. Four down territory. Brought to you by Fire Wings. 21 different flavors to choose from. And now a Nashville Fire Chicken Sandwich.
Had one yesterday.
How'd that go for you?
Really well.
It's really good, isn't it?
Actually, legitimately really good.
Like, I know you're not going to come on and be like, that thing was trash. I get it.
But I wouldn't have brought it up. If I didn't.
And I wouldn't have brought it up either if you and I hadn't talked about it before the show about how great it was.
Mm-hmm.
It's the butterflied chicken thigh, I think that's the key, instead of a chicken breast.
Yes, I agree.
So good, so tender, so juicy.
When I got it, I was sitting there going, I really hope that this is good because if not, I'm not going to be able to participate in these promos.
Right? No.
I'm not going to tell people to go get it and have them be
you
like,
can't lie.
Be like, oh, it's not good.
First down.
Did Reggie McKenzie get a raw deal?
I'm going to say no, but I'm very much qualifying this no. I'm going to say no because I think it's like setting a caged bird loose. Like, I think he got a great deal. I think a raw deal would have been having to be a figurehead for however long left it was on his contract and not being available the second the season ends to go get a job somewhere else. The bottom line is this. I think Reggie McKenzie is a very talented GM. I don't think he's, top 5. But I think you could argue he's top 10, and I think regardless of what you want to say about the guy, it wasn't perfect, but he rebuilt that Raiders team. He rebuilt them into a contender. He rebuilt them into a team that went 12-4. He was the executive of the year 2 years ago, and Derek Carr broke his leg.
I think the lack of recognition that he got from the organization and the way he got pushed aside kind of stinks. Like he did a really nice job there, and I know that he whiffed on some draft picks for sure, but I think he had a good enough resume to earn that extension that he got in 2016 and to kind of play it out. And the fact that Mark Davis seeked out a coach that he knew was going to want and get personnel control, that kind of stunk.
It did. Well, Gruden's got total control now, so Let's see what happens. Second down.
Second down. Second down.
Bill Belichick blamed himself for the final play on Sunday. Is he right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so
he
too.
is. And Bill Belichick might be the greatest coach in NFL history. Bill Belichick is a Hall of Famer. Bill Belichick is awesome, and pretty much any team would love to have Bill Belichick. So he can screw up the next 94 games, and he's still a Hall of Famer. Rob Gronkowski on the field for that play was an absolute travesty.
Yeah, that's
was
bad.
completely unnecessary. And you can go back to the Super Bowl, and you can go back to Malcolm Butler not playing it down and wonder if that was part of the reason why the Patriots lost, and that's considered perhaps another Belichick gaffe. But this was an absolute Belichick gaffe, and it directly affected the end of the game. And Gronkowski was he could not cut with Kenyon Drake. He did not have the angle. He had no business being in there, is what effectively amounted to a safety, and that directly cost them that game. Belichick's in charge of personnel on the field. He made the wrong call, and even if it was one of his coordinators that made that call, it should be Bill Belichick's. He's a detailed guy. That's his final call.
I'm bracing myself for what you're about to say. I've gotten to talk to a couple of former Patriots who played under Bill Belichick.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. Nice. And
dude, you know what? Because I was waiting for you set it up, and I was waiting for you when I heard you say that to whatever they were going to say about playing for Bill Belichick to be the thing that offended me. Excuse me. Oh, I've talked to players who play for Bill Belichick. I apologize.
There it is. Okay. The thing that they talk about most with Belichick is how detail-oriented he is and how everything in his head is football. And when he says we're on to next team,
right,
like he's literally already thinking about the next team. And in his mind, I think he made a mistake not knowing that the Dolphins were going to go with the hook and lateral play rather than try a 70-yard Hail Mary. And that's why Gronk was in there, to try and knock down a Hail Mary.
Sure.
And I'm guessing that they said, all right, X amount of seconds, and they have Y distance to go. This is the personnel package that goes in. And he didn't even think of a possible hook and lateral, and the consequences of having Gronk is your safety.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's a failure on his part, but that's not, I mean, that's far from the end of the world.
Oh, certainly. I don't think Bill Belichick's on the hot seat here. I think that play, and there were other mistakes in the game. Here's the bottom line. It's not Bill Belichick's fault, if you really want to talk about it, because somewhere at some point Tom Brady sold his soul to the devil. And part of the deal with the devil is that he can't play in Miami.
Right.
That's a curse of Miami more than anything else. Let's just be logical here. Third down.
Third down.
Tom Brady spends a lot of time at Live when he's in Miami.
Yeah.
Are the Vikings done?
No, we discussed this earlier. They're not done. They're not done in many aspects because of the remaining schedule of really the only two teams that can catch them, Philadelphia and Carolina. We ruled out Green Bay. Vikings are 6-6-1. The Panthers and Eagles are 6-7. We're not counting the Redskins at 6-7 because their quarterback play is the New York Giants went in there and blew them out. And the Packers are 5-7-1. They're just too far back. The fact of the matter is the Vikings, even at 6-6-1, as we mentioned, their remaining schedule being Dolphins, Lions, Bears, that should be 2-1. They're getting the Dolphins at home. Road Lions should be a win. We'll count the Bears at home even as a loss. That should be enough to get them in.
They went, I think they're done as a Super Bowl contender. I would now be shocked if the Vikings won the Super Bowl. And I kept waiting for them to turn a corner this year because you look, they went 13-3 last year. They added Kirk Cousins. They were going to bring Dalvin Cook back. They had most of the same guys in the secondary or in the on defense. And I kept waiting, okay, they're going to rip off 5 or 6 straight wins here and be a dominant team going into the playoffs, and they're just not. And that showed Monday night. They got dominated in every facet.
They really did. They really did. And that's a problem for them, but I think they still, and you think they still make the playoffs.
Yeah, I do too.
Fourth down.
Fourth down.
Kyle?
Fourth down.
I want to shift something on the fly here. Let's scrap that fourth down question. I want to ask you a fourth down question.
Okay.
Because you mentioned teams getting hot. We are now going into, week 15. 3 weeks left.
Yeah.
Almost every year, we see a team that maybe is under the radar in weeks 13 and 14. They win a game or two in a row. And then they end up sweeping the rest of the year, getting super hot in the playoffs, and then either winning the Super Bowl or at least getting close. A team that we will look back around championship time, AFC, NFC championship time, and go, wow, man, in week 12, we would have counted them out. If I told you that neither the Chiefs, Saints, Rams, or Patriots were going to win the Super Bowl this year, and the team that wins the Super Bowl is a team that started to turn it around weeks 10, 11, 12, 13, what team would you pick most likely to finish on that hot streak?
The Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
They've just been there before. They're super well coached. They have a quarterback who's playing at an MVP caliber level.
I'm going to give you nominees and see if you still stick with the Seahawks.
Okay.
Chargers, Bears, Cowboys, Seahawks.
The Chargers, I don't know if I don't know if I trust the Chargers.
I think that's scheduled tweet right there. That's every year,
right? And that's just it. So, and I know that's such a dumb way to look at it. That's a terrible way to look at it because it's a new players and coaches and circumstances are different every year. But the Melvin Gordon injury and now Austin Eckler's hurt. There's just I don't know. I don't trust the Chargers. The Bears, we talked about it yesterday. They're tremendous, but I don't trust their offense.
Mm-hmm. Trubisky might be a little too young.
I'm not ready to trust Jason Garrett in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
We've just seen the Seahawks do this before, and they have a combination of a very good defense and, like I said, a quarterback who is a game-changing type of player.
All right, we got to go. Let me ask you this just to finish up. If the Chargers go into Arrowhead this Thursday and beat the Chiefs, does that change your mind?
That depends.
Okay.
I think it depends on how the game goes.
Okay. Sacramento Kings in action last night. They are home. They got home early this morning from a road trip. They beat the Bulls. They went 3-1 on this trip, and we'll look ahead to what their schedule is upcoming. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us. Do we know if the phones are working again, by the way? Do we have any idea? 4411. Maybe they're not. If they're not, if you're having issues, come through on the text. 441140. It's a drive. Sports 1140 KHTK.
This is Kyle Madson with your top stories on Sports 1140. The Kings beat the Bulls last night, 108-89 in Chicago to finish up their four-game road trip at 3-1. De'Aaron Fox had a terrific night for the Kings. Another terrific night, I should say. He filled up the stat sheet. He had a game-high 25 points to go along with 6 assists, 4 rebounds, and 4 steals. Sacramento is off today. They return home to face the Minnesota Timberwolves tomorrow. The Oakland Raiders announced yesterday that they have fired Reggie McKenzie as the team's general manager. He signed a 4-year extension in 2016 that would have kept him with the Raiders through 2021. And 49ers wide receiver Pierre Garçon's season is over. Head coach Kyle Shanahan announced yesterday that the 32-year-old will have surgery on an injured knee that had kept him out of San Francisco's last 4 games. It's 7:34. Time for Squeaky Clean to clean your gutters. Visit squeakyclean.com. Those are your top stories. Now back to the drive on Sports 1140 KHTK.
It's The Drive on Sports 1140 KHTK.
Rich, you're killing me. My favorite texter, one of them at least, is Rich, but
Rich is great.
I'm not trying to get into it was hard enough for me to say that Steph Curry and Klay Thompson were the best backcourt in NBA history. It's very difficult for me to say, but it's true. Rich is saying they're not even the best backcourt in Warrior history.
Rich.
My
guy.
Our guy. Rich.
Like, I know that Steph and Monte were really good, but I know the AC Law Monte Ellis duo was a fearsome component of the early 2010s Warriors.
I got a press release here from I got a press release from the NBA. I got a press release here from the NBA. Former King Shareem Abdur-Rahim was named the former King Sharif Abdur-Rahim I straight said Shareem Abdul-Rahim.
Yeah, you did.
You didn't even catch me on that. Shareem Abdul... What did I say?
I thought I had it wrong.
I said Shareem Abdul-Rahim.
Yeah, you switched the F and the M.
Sharif Abdur-Rahim,
There it
former
is.
Sacramento King, former number 2 pick, I believe, of the Vancouver Grizzlies, if memory serves me correct, and one of the coolest, nicest guys, like on the all combo of good and also super awesome guys that played for the Sacramento Kings list. He is absolutely right up there. Named president of the G League. So he is.
That's cool.
Yeah, not only is he a good dude, a Cal guy too. He's got that brain on him too. So he is. He's a good dude, man, and it's good to see him doing quite well. Kyle has something to say.
Excuse me, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to do a read now.
Okay, please, yeah, because the one guy thought he doesn't like us doing reads.
It is 7:36.
It is
time to call your local Geico agent, Vince Harris.
No, hey, put some
at
respect on his name.
916-923-5050.
923-5050.
That's 916-923-5050.
Vince
I hope
Harris.
that wasn't.
Yeah, was
I
that?
hope that was satisfactory.
Vince Harris Hive. How can I help you?
We're strongly in the Vince Harris Hive. Love Vince.
I'm going to do some counting on the air here because I didn't prep the stat. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Kyle, would you like to take a guess on what date last year did the Sacramento Kings win their 14th, dare I say, game of the year?
January 28th. February 4th.
January 23rd. So you went on the over, and that kind of messed up my stat. You should have said something like, December 30th.
Oh.
And then I went back, no, dude, January 23rd. Now it sounds like...
Okay, do it again.
On what date last year did the Sacramento Kings win their 14th game?
Let's see, what is it, December 11th? Like December 15th.
Yeah, you wrote it. 1, 2, I'll try it again here, though, with something else, though. 3, 4, 5, 6. This is interesting. On what date last year did the Sacramento Kings win their... they've won 8 road games, haven't they? Excuse me. On what date last year did the Sacramento Kings win their 8th road game?
December 15th.
2 days later, after they won their 14th game in Orlando, they won their 8th road game, January 25th, with a De'Aaron Fox putback in Miami.
I don't remember that.
To win in Miami, I think the stat is for the first time since 14 BC. They haven't won there in a long time.
That seems like an exaggeration.
Mm-hmm. How about this? The Sacramento Kings have 8 road wins. How many teams...
I have a question for you after this.
How many teams in the NBA have more road wins than the Sacramento Kings?
2.
Yes, 2. I don't like doing this with you. You're dumb. You ruin all my fun stats. 2. Utah and Toronto are the only teams in the NBA with more road wins than the
Utah surprises me.
And we told you going into last night's game, the Kings had the 5th toughest strength of schedule. That is all the way down now to the 9th toughest strength of schedule, yet still a top 10 most difficult strength of schedule.
Well, they play in the West.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So trust me, friends, in this segment, we're going to spend a lot of time praising and loving on the Kings because they deserve it so much. I do want to point this out for everyone in this year of lowered expectations and exceeded expectations. Here's a stat that you probably aren't going to like. The Sacramento Kings, other than the New Orleans Pelicans, who are currently, I believe, 13-14, they're one game under 500. Other than the Pelicans, the Sacramento Kings do not play another team below 500 for the rest of the year.
Unreal.
As a matter of fact, the next time the Kings will play a team under 500 will be January 7th and that game will be against the Orlando Magic, who are currently in the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference at 12-15. January 7th is the next time the Kings play a team below 500.
Currently below 500.
Currently below 500. Thank you. Other than the New Orleans Pelicans, who throttled the Kings 149-129 earlier this season. I know it sounds like a broken record because a lot of us were saying, just get through November, just get through November, just get through November.
Let's just get through December.
And now it really is. I will tell you this. If everything holds right, I have no way of knowing. I can't extrapolate the stats. I don't have them in front of me, but I have a hard time believing that if everything holds and everyone is at or above 500, that by the end of December, the Kings should have, if not number 2, the number 1 toughest strength of schedule in the NBA. They can't go anywhere but up.
Yeah.
Because of that schedule, and right now they're at number 9. They have one stretch as we schedule hunt here. It's just a quirk in the schedule where they leave on Christmas afternoon. They're going to fly from here to Los Angeles to play the LA Clippers on the 26th. They will then return home and the very next day play the LA Lakers on the 27th. They will then get back on a plane, and their next game is against the LA Lakers in Los Angeles.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's just a weird, funky schedule.
It's very odd.
3 straight LA games, 2 of them on the road, 1 of them at home. They return Wednesday, they're here. They return to action at Golden One Center this Wednesday, tomorrow, against the Minnesota Timberwolves, and then play Golden State on Friday, which will be that's going to be a really fun atmosphere, at least until the game starts here in Sacramento. Golden State's getting healthier now. They have Steph Curry back. DeMarcus Cousins obviously won't play, but he's now practicing and doing full scrimmages in Santa Cruz with their G League team. You're the Warriors guy. Do you have an update on Draymond Green? Any chance
he played last night.
Oh, he did play last night.
Yeah.
So he's back. I totally missed that. Well, that's neat. So they'll be fully healthy, and DeMarcus is just kind of a bonus. They'll be
assuming nobody rests, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's neat. Meanwhile, the Minnesota Timberwolves come in. And the Timberwolves, after trading Jimmy Butler, had reeled off some pretty good games. They've lost 2 in a row. In fact, both games of this road trip at Portland and at Golden State last night, 116-108. They have lost 3 of 5. One of those games you kind of, not got to win, but again, having a 2-game homestand, and you've got Minnesota, which isn't going to be a cakewalk, and then Golden State, which, God, I'd love to steal a game there. I'd love to steal that game on Friday. I hope the fans all turn out and just go ballistic. Can we get cowbells back? Can we get cowbells back in the arena, please? Can we have a cowbell-allowed night where we can bring the big giant ones back? And just, I want cowbells ringing in the ears of the players.
They outlawed cowbells at the stadium? Arena?
I need to get an official word on that because I think there has been, and Kings fans can help me on this on the text line at 441140, brought to you by Jiffy Lube. Kings fans can help me because I think there's been at least some sort of adjustment to the rule because I don't see them much anymore, if at all. I think at the very least there was an adjustment to the size of the cowbells you could bring in. Like you bring in like the little ringy ones, but you just don't see them. And I don't think the fans would voluntarily. I remember hearing something about this, and I'm just getting old.
What if? Are they going to measure the cowbell?
You know how like when you go on a plane flight, you have to put your check-in bag in the little.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they have a little cowbell measure. You have to stick the cowbell in.
If your cowbell doesn't fit in this box, it can't go inside the arena. There's just a graveyard of massive cowbells.
Yeah, I think I don't want to. I'm not raining on anyone's parade. I'm just saying the schedule comes up. It gets even more difficult, and I didn't make the schedule, and I apologize. In the meantime, I apologize for the tough schedule. In the meantime, this team, man, 14-12. I was texting with some people that used to be around this team last night, and it's a group text. And
oh, I'm Dave. I'm in a group text with people who used to be around the Kings.
I don't think that counts. People.
I think it
just
does.
No players.
If you were,
no players. Nobody ever worked for the organization. Just people who used to be around the organization. Nobody ever worked for the organization. They might have been friends with people that worked for the organization. But anyways. It's always like, oh, big deal. You won. Oh, good job. You beat Cleveland. You beat Phoenix. Oh, you beat the Bulls who lost by 56 to the Celtics. Great job. Well, yeah, great job.
They used to lose games like that.
First off, it's intellectually dishonest to look at this team and say, oh, the Kings are 14-12. Who have they played? Well, they've played the ninth toughest schedule in the NBA, stupid.
Right.
That's not an opinion. Like your guy, Steph Curry, thanks a lot for that yesterday on my Facebook page. I'm having arguments with basically
it's your fault for bringing it up.
It is my fault. It is. I respect Steph's opinion. That was the take. I respect his. It's not an opinion, dude.
Right, it's a fact that we didn't land on the moon. He had 38 last night. That just confirms it.
It is not an opinion that the Kings have played a tough schedule. It is an objective. It is an absolute fact. Right. On top of that, I don't care if they have the easiest schedule in the NBA. They're 14-12 in December. This has been the Cleveland Browns franchise of the NBA for the last decade plus. This has been the worst franchise in the NBA for the last decade plus. They're 14-12 in December. Have fun with it.
I also think last year's team probably folds last night against Chicago when they went down double digits.
Great point.
And that's what beating the teams you should beat is a step toward contention. Like there's the losing to everybody part. Mm-hmm. That's kind of where, you start to beat some teams you should, but you lose some games you shouldn't. And now they're beating all the teams they should beat. That game against the Jazz at home without Donovan Mitchell that, they should have won. But the Jazz are a good team. The Jazz are maybe not playing great, but that's theoretically a playoff team.
They are. They should be.
But your road games against Phoenix, Cleveland, even Cleveland hung around in that game for a while, and the Kings pulled away.
Hey, Cleveland's made the finals 4 straight years.
Yeah, the East still goes through them.
Thank you.
And you get that game in Chicago last night where Chicago's getting healthy, and they go up big early, and the Kings just come back, and they win by 19.
Did you know one time Chicago won 6 championships in 8 years?
What?
Yeah, that Chicago Bulls team we played last night. I mean, not that specific one, but still. Your point is well taken. They're beating teams that they should beat. And again, with the exception, we are now 26 games into the year. With the exception of the Utah game at home, I believe they have won every game that they should. That was one bad loss, but they've also won a couple that they quote-unquote shouldn't have. Oklahoma City, for example. And being 500 or better on the road is the mark of a good team. They have 8 road wins.
Yep.
They've played... And I'll get back to you here, Kyle. They have played 15 road games. They have played the 9th toughest schedule in the NBA. And if I'm correct, I believe strength of schedule is based solely on the combined team's one-loss percentage.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So correct me if I'm wrong. That strength of schedule does not take into account road versus home games.
No.
So
I think there's a metric for that, but it's not strength of schedule.
So 9th toughest strength of schedule in the NBA, and they've played 15 road games.
Yeah, it feels like they've not ever been home this year.
They've played 15 road games and 11 home games, and 4 games doesn't seem like a lot, but out of 26, and they've played 4 more road than home games, and that's only going to get worse because this homestands 2 games, and then they're back out on the road. Kyle, that's impressive.
It is, and that's what... It's not just that they're winning, it's how they're winning. And they're pulling away from bad teams, and they're doing it on the road, and it's all been very impressive. And if you want to go, yeah, but who have they played? Like, you used to not be able to say that.
Right.
Because it didn't matter who they played, they were probably going to lose. And now they're sitting at 14-12, and they're beating good teams, and they're playing really well against good teams. They should have beat the Warriors in Golden State. Like, that's just a thing that should have happened. And I don't know, based on what we were expecting from this team this year, what more you want from them.
The people that say who have they played instead of giving them credit are the same people. It is the same thing, Kyle. In fact, it's the same exact thing with no differences. As if you were a parent and your 1-2-year-old starts taking its first baby steps, and then your wife calls you and it's like, oh my God, look at Billy. And you look at Billy kind of stagger around in his diaper and take like 3 steps forward. It's his first steps, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you go, call me when you run a 40, dude. That's not impressive.
Right.
It's the same thing.
Exactly.
They're a baby team. They're taking steps right now. And you guys, and not you guys, I apologize. There's like 4 people that are out there that are dumb, but you know, whether it's national media, whether it's people, other fans, whether it's our own fans, which I don't think this is very prevalent amongst our own fans, but you got to stop and smell the roses and enjoy the growth. Your baby is taking steps. For really the first time in 12 years, you have a baby that's taking steps.
And this is what all the I'm sick of losing and I'm sick of this and I just want a team that wins. Like, you're not going to go from winning 25 games to winning a championship overnight.
No.
What they're doing right now is vital. They are contending for a playoff spot almost a third of the way through the season. That's a big deal.
That is a huge deal.
Do you think, and I want to get this question in before the segment's over. You mentioned that putback dunk by De'Aaron Fox in Miami. And I remember on this show we talked about how that might wind up being a turning point.
Yeah.
Like that we're going to look back on and go, man, that was the moment. And I think that's right. Because that was the first time De'Aaron Fox just kind of said, not the first time because he hit a couple of game winners last year, but that road game in Miami was really symbolic to me.
Yeah, that was like when Harry Potter first realized he was a wizard. First time Luke blocked the laser beam with his lightsaber on the Millennium Falcon. There was an awakening in De'Aaron Fox, I think, with that play.
Yeah.
Where he said, you know what, I can carry this team.
Yeah.
I can be one of the saviors, if not the savior. I'll make one more point here for Kings fans before we break. Kyle, what is also scary is not only is this team conceivably going to keep getting better because they're so young and they're going to mature, but you also have over $36 million in expiring contracts, and you are the only team in the NBA with any room in the cap. The Kings this year are dead last in salary. They have $11+ million to work with there. They are the only team in the NBA that has that type of room. So while we're focused on De'Aaron Fox and Marvin Bagley and Buddy Hield, Vlade also has a loaded weapon at his disposal to make trades. And we're starting to get to the point where trades don't usually happen the first couple months of the season because everybody's kind of set on their rosters. But around end of December, January, and leading into the All-Star break, what Kings fans, I think, need to realize is that this probably isn't as good as this team's going to be this year. They have the ability to not only get better through growth, but also to add a massive piece or a couple of decent pieces to make a true playoff run. That's something we all have to keep in the back of our head, that Vlade Divac is perfectly positioned to go to the world of the NBA, all the GMs, and just send a giant group text to every other general manager and be like, let's go. Who wants to make a deal? And then just start taking bidding left and right. What do you got? What do you got? Okay, I got this. What do you got? Sold to that East Coast team with the high payroll. We'll take a break. Let's talk to Matt Barrows next. You want to do that?
Okay, fine.
Okay, good. Matt Barrows of The Athletic. We're going to talk 49ers. And then a 49er player, Eric Armstead, is going to join us, Sacramento Zone, at 8:35. A couple questions we're going to ask Eric now. We're going to ask him about a little Twitter burst. He went at a Twitter, air quotes, reporter yesterday in the Bay Area. Also want to ask Eric, being a player in the locker room during Jed York's speech after the passing of his younger brother, the emotion in there and how great that win felt Sunday. So we'll have fun with Eric, and we'll have fun with Matt before that on The Drive, Sports 1140, KHTK.